We're up to the Mishnah and Ayin Vav Amid Beis. Ayin Vav Amid Beis, the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, how do you say Gitech Amanas Imloi Basi on the Mishnah on Ayin Vav Amid Beis. So how do you say Gitech? This is your get, right? 8:30. I said 8:35. You're right. No, I said 8:30.
Yeah, you said 8:30. You just said 8:35.
Okay, as long as the water's here. Now, so we're starting the Mishnah on Ayin Vav Amid Beis. How you say Gitech Imloi Basi Mikad Bad Yud Beis Chodesh? This is your get if I don't come from now until 12 months. Umais B'tach Yud Beis Chodesh ain't a get, because this is the classic Engel Achamisa, guys. Correct? Again, he said this is your get if I don't come from now until Yud Beis Chodesh. This would be now the only person it would be a get according to would be Rabbi Yossi, because Yossi would say Zman Shel Shtar Mochiach Halav. Remember that this. What's the reason you put the Zman in the get? Is to show that that's when the get is chal. But only the Rabbi Yossi. But no one else would hold that, and therefore in this case it wouldn't be a get because the guy ain't get la chamisa. And then the next case, how you say get me'ach gitech? How you say gitech me'ach shav? This is your get from now. But I don't come now from now until 12 months. And obviously he can't, if he's dead, he's not coming. Right? How is that get? It's a get because he said the lashon of me'ach shav, and it's going to be chal when from the time of the Nesina. Third case. If I don't come from now until 10 months, write again and give it to my wife. Guys, be medayik. When should he write the get? After 12 months, because he says, so it's only after 12 months can you write the get. That only then, right? However, if he says first write a get and give it to my wife. Okay, so now he said write and give before he said basi. So the case before, since he wrote it mitoich when he shouldn't have written it, smash me only write it afterwards, and he wrote it mitoich, so it's not good. How about this case? Here he said write and give, and have it ready, and give it to my wife if I don't come. So kiss and a get. The Chacham say there's no difference, even though you said you could write it, right? If he doesn't come, it's not a get. Why? Because they, according to them, you can't do anything until after 12 months. You can't write it, nothing. Rabbi Yossi get. In this case, it would be a get. In this case, it would be a get. Why? Because it does say you have to write it after 12 months. It just says you can't give it there. You can't. According the Chacham don't make a chilik between the two cases, whether they said if I don't come, write it, or write it if I don't come. Rabbi Yossi does make a chilik. He said, write a get, kisvu la'achar yud beis chodesh, v'nasan la'achar yud beis chodesh. Write a get after 12 months and give it after 12 months. Umeis. And then he dies. So they said to write a get after, write and give it. So he wrote it and he died. Now, if I get kodem l'misa, it was before misa, how is a get? If misa kodem l'get, ain't a get. If misa preceded the get, then what? Then it's not a get. If misa preceded the get, in this case, what? It's not a get. So what exactly is this case? What exactly is this case? He told him to write a get after 12 months and give it after 12 months, and then he dies. If he gave the get before he died, how is the get? There seems to not be a chiddush over here, correct? The misa kodem l'get ain't no get. It doesn't seem to be a chiddush over get. The chiddush is the last case from any yadua. If you don't know what came first, in other words, here's the chiddush. He said he's in one locale. He said write it and give it. And the guy died in another locale, and now you're not sure. Sui shamru. This is the megareshes and megareshes. This is the case where you'd have to give chalitza, and you couldn't marry a kohen, and so. Okay. Yeah. So now says the Gemara, Tana, Rabbi Seinu Tiruli Nasei, the Chachamim they permitted to get married. Says Rashi, what case are we going on? Just go Okay, you're good. Perfect. Hitiruli nase. The afal gav, the first line in Rashi, guys. The first wide line. The afal gav the loyoma me'achshav. Even though he didn't say me'achshav, he said this is your get if I don't come. Kimanda ama me'achshav dame. The mistama me'achshav kamala. So look at the first case of the Mishnah. Guys, listen. How he said gitech, this is your get if I don't come from now until 12 months, and he doesn't come. So he said it's not a get. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Hosseinu permitted to get married with this get, that she's divorced. Because why did he tell him to write it? It's as if you said me'achshav. Okay, that's what the Gemara says. Now, no, it's chal right away. So when the see the Gemara says exactly when does she get married, but it has to be chal right away, Dov, because if it's chal later, it's he's dead and ain't get lachamisa. It has to be from the time that he spoke to the Adam. At that time, if he told in September, told the woman to get, this is your get. If I don't come now in September, if I don't come now until 12 months, if he
dies in December,
it's a good get. That's what we're saying.
In December,
Lemafreya. He didn't say me'achshav. So that's the chiddush of the Gemara now.
And because we're sure he has to come back after 12 months because he's dead.
No, if again, the question is whether it's get achamisa or not. That's the only shiloh is if a person usually until now we learn pashit. If a guy says this is your get, if I don't show up within 12 months, he doesn't show up, but he's dead, and get achamisa. So the Tanai is fulfilled, but it doesn't make a difference. He's dead. So the chiddush over here is that even though he's dead, it is a good get. Why is it a good get? Because we'll say it's from the time he told the woman. Because again, what does Rashi say? The afa gav lo me'achshav, despite the fact he didn't say me'achshav. Kiman di me'achshav dami. It's as if he said me'achshav. The mistama me'achshav kamla mistama. He meant me'achshav. Why is he saying it? This is the chiddush. Again, we'll see. This is the chiddush of Rabbi Hosseinu. Now, the Gemara wants to know, man Rabbi Hosseinu, who are the women? Who's the Rabbanu who permitted her to get married with this get? Rav Yehuda Mishmuel Beidina Deshari Mishcha. This is the Bezdin that permitted Mishcha. The guys they acid the shemen of goyim, just like chalav is asa, and just like cheese is asa. They acid shemen, but it was something that people could abide by, so they got rid of it. And this was the Bezdin, the Shari Mishcha that permitted Mishcha. Mishcha means what? It means oil. But again, they need the oil. It never was. It's not a sugya now, but I'm saying that. So they permitted it. So why did they permit this woman to get married? Because I gave you a little insight, guys, right? When I said the Mishnah, because they held Rabbi Yossi the that since you have a get that you're giving and it's dated in our scenario, it's dated in September. It's dated. Why did you date it? Why did you date it? To say that get is chal from now. So if he dies in December, it's still as if the get was given what in September, despite not saying me'achshav. Okay. Now, Amar Rav Abba Braid Rav Chia Bar Abba Amar Rav Yochanan Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. I always tell you who's Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya is the grandson of Rabbi. Correct? It's not Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. I always tell it to you. And here's the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya Benoshel Rabbi Gamliel Bar Rabbi. Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya was the son of Rabbi Gamliel, who was the son of Rabbi. Hayra. He permitted the woman to get married in this scenario. And all the people in the Beis Medrash did not agree with him. The whole time he was alive, they didn't agree with him.
He's dead.
What?
He permitted to get married.
Right? What? That she's no yibum, you know.
Oh, I get it, but it seems like a carte-blanche statement that no matter what.
No.
It's right.
Get married meaning as a gerusha, right? Without yibum, right? That's a chiddush. Again, why?
Right,
in all of these cases, what's nafkamina? Nafkamina is two nafkaminas. One, could she marry a kohen? But more importantly, there's no yibum. Again, these cases, you know, they were very halacha masdika cases. This is your get if I don't show up in 12 months. They will worry about a gunas. They were, you know, the people traveled. You never know what happened to them. I told you. My brother said the story, right? That my brother told the story the other week that my grandmother told them that she was in Europe and Poland. The woman, her husbands went overseas and traveled. They wouldn't open the mail because they had someone else open the mail. They scared it was a get. People would travel. It was a different world. So all these cases, these really are halacha ma'aseh cases. You know, it's not just the mental, exercise and mental. Okay. Anyway, the bottom line is, so they permitted, even though you didn't say me'achshav, said basi. So now, Amalei Yehuda lahu saba, kisha risua la'alta sharisua or la'ach shnei masachayda sharisua. La'alta sharisua the halay asi. I tell malachi beis chayda sharisua the kaim latanoi. In other words, so you what's following? What's our scenario? Wrote to get in September, died in December. Do you have to wait till next September to get married to fulfill the Tanai, or since he's dead, it's not going to be fulfilled. Says the Gemara, what? V'tiboy le masnisa me achshem le basi mikani yom chaydesh umeistot yom chaydesh. How you say get alta? Who the havi halayasi? Idil malachi beis chaydesh lo kaim latana. Why didn't you ask on the Mishnah? This, in other words, why are you asking on the case of that like you said, according to Rabbi Yossi, according to the psak of the Bez in the Shari Mitzvah, why don't you ask on a Mishnah? This is your get if I don't come from now in 12 months. So you know for sure it's a get in September when it was written, because he said me'achshav, and now you're dead in December. Why don't you ask there? Why do you ask over here? He says, we could have. We should the hoya who maisa, right? Okay, that was the maisa. Okay, that was the maisa. So okay, now, so very good. Now we had guys. We've had different lashonis that match with different things. So we had. Let's go some of the things we had. This is you get almanas that don't come back for 12 months. We said kolam me'as almanas is kol me'achshav dami. We have zman soshtam chalav, and then we have scenarios where everyone will agree that unless he shows up for 12 months, that's not a get. Okay, let's 3 scenarios. Amar Abaya hakol moedim. Everyone agrees. There's no machlokes whatsoever. Heichad the Amar, where he says this following lashon: "V'chesheteitze chama min atika." This is your get when the sun comes out of its shell, meaning when the sun rises. This is your get when the sun rises. Everyone's moida in that case. If you said at night, l'chinafka ka'amala, he means when the sun comes out. L'chimayis belayla have a get lachamisa. If he would die at night, it's a get lachamisa. You don't say Zman Shashtam Achiach. You don't say Me'achshav. None of the previous. This is clear cut. If the person says openly, "This is your get," when the sun comes up, there is no if, ands, and buts. None. Rashi, let's see Rashi. L'chinafka kamala v'maisa belayla lo havikita. V'gam masisa nami. What would be the parallel case where everyone would agree? This will be a get when I do not come after 12 months, right? Then lav gethu. In other words, if he would say to Lashon, this is your get, not if I do not come, that I don't come, then it's mamish, everyone agrees. And there's no Rabbi Yossi, when I don't come, you get. In other words, when's it a get? When I don't come, but not what? From this man? When I don't come, it's a get. When the sun comes up, it's a get. What? Again, is it possible that if we'd say it means me'achshav, that if he's dead, he's dead?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, we're going the case that this is a case that everyone would agree, even the one who holds like Rabbi Yossi, who holds, this is your get if I don't come. Rabbi Yossi also following Shragi. This is your get if I don't come. Im loy ba'asi, it's a good get even though he dies. Again, our scenario, September get, December dead. Good? If you would say, if I don't, im loy ba'asi, then it's a machlokes. If you hold Zman Shasham Achiach, it's a good get. If you don't, it's in get lachamisa. But if someone would say, this is your get when I don't come after 12 months, you make it tully, then even Rabbi Yossi would be moided at what?
Consider like
No, the opposite. No. When I don't come, meaning the hakpada is after 12 months.
Yeah, but how can you become a get when he's dead already?
It's not a get. Everyone's mind, it's not a get.
Oh, it's not.
I know, what's talking about China? You have to come at least 3 times a week to talk about China, not once. Now, next, al minas shetetzi chama minatika me'achshav kamalei. Everyone's maida, if you say this is your get on the condition that the sun comes up and the guy dies at night, guess what? Then it's a good get, because what does al minas mean? Me'achshav. The Amrav Huna Marav Koloim Al Manas Koloim Achshadami. So in other words, these are the 2 ends of the spectrum. This is the heta. This now where's the machlokes? Leinechlaku ela beim teitzei. If the sun comes up, that's the shaila. If the sun comes up, masav lekreb yosi damas manashal shliach yelav, and there'll be a good get despite the guy dying at night. It's the same thing as Kimayom from this day if I die. If from now if I die. Remember, guys, we had a shaila. Is that charat or not? It's charat. No. And the one who disagrees would say kimesi greda. So again, very much the lashon you use would go ahead and influence whether it's a get or not. If you say it's not a get until I come, right, then it's not going to be a get. Almanas, everyone hold it is a get. If that's a machlokes. Kisvu get, okay, our Mishnah, guys, we had two cases in the Mishnah, guys. We had two cases in the Mishnah. The first case was, after 12 months, if I don't come, write a get. The other lashon was, write a get, if I don't come, you have to. So in other words, what came first? If I don't come and write the get, or write the get if I don't come? What came first? The Chachamim did not make a difference. And they said, if you write the get before 12 months, it's not a good get. Rabbi Yossi said in the latter scenario, write the get, if I don't come in 12 months, it would be a get, good get. But in the case of what? In the case of if I don't come, write the get, then Rabbi Yossi would agree, pashtus. Says the Gemara, but the Gemara is going to have a havamina, fellas. The Gemara's havamina is Rabbi Yossi argues in both cases. He would say that what? It's a very foreign havamina. He would say even the case when you said, if I don't come, write a get, also you could write it. You write it before, it's okay. You guys see here? If I don't come, write a get, and you wrote the get within 12 months, Rabbi Yossi would also hold, the havamina would also hold it's a good get. Says the Gemara. Amalei Rav Yemar l'Ravashi, Leima ksav Rabbi Yossi, ksav get al tenai, kasha. That if you write a get on tenai, it's kasha. In other words, if for some reason there's a havamina that no tenai, by get, there would not be any tenai. By get, there's no tenai helps by get. So it will make a difference in both cases. Whether you said, if I don't come right, or if you said right and come, it will make a difference. Why? Because Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold the tenai at all. It's a very strange havamina. Says, no, guys, what's the obvious answer? There's a big difference in the lashon. Listen to the lashon. Guys, listen to the lashon. If I don't come after 12 months, write a get. You write a get before 12 months. No get, right? You said to write it after 12 months. You didn't say to write it before. Versus write a get if I don't come after 12 months. Then what are you saying? You say, well, you could say there's no difference. The Chacham say the taka is no difference. Or you could say, since I said write a get, and then I said and give it after 12 months, so you can write it beforehand. So Rabbi Yossi would agree in the first case where you said, if I don't come for 12 months, write the get. Your havamina was Rabbi Yossi would disagree in both cases. And we're saying no. Says the Gemara, the obvious answer. If you tonight by get, if it's not fulfilled, will be puzzle. And it's different over here. When you should have said, Im loy basi, kisvu v'tenu. If I don't come, write it. V'omar, and you wrote kisvu v'tenu. Right? Write it and give it, Im loy basi. So hachi kamar. Kisvu me achshav, v'tenu im loy basi. In other words, the latter case. Because you said write it before 12 months. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. In other words, whether you said kisvu v'tenu after 12 or 12 kisvu v'tenu doesn't make a difference. Well, the Gemara goes through different lashonos. La'achas shvua. Let's say you say write a get and give it if I don't come after shvua. Shvua means a 7-year cycle. You know what he means? Shana la'achas shana. It means shana. It means a year after. It means the 8th year. La'achas shana. This is a get if I don't come after a year. Chaydish. It's a year and a month. La'achas chaydish after a month. Shabbos. It's another week. La'achas Shabbos Mai. Write a get if I don't come after a week. Mai. Yosef Rav Zera Kamed Ravasi, Vimilo Ravasi Kamed Rav Yochanan, V'Komar, Chad B'Shaba, Sunday, V'Trei and Monday, V'Tilsa and Tuesday, Bosa Shafta. That goes after the past week. So you say, guys, this is your get if I don't come in a week. You know what it means? 7 days, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But you better be there by Tuesday night. Of course, why? Because Tuesday night is Wednesday morning. Arba, Wednesday, the Chamisha and Thursday. Umali Shabbat and Friday, Kame Shabbat considers the next week. So therefore, if you said, this is your get, if I don't come for a week, you have up until Tuesday night. You have it until Tuesday night. It's interesting, guys. Linyan halacha. This is what Linyan Havdalah. The Torah in Arachayim Shimon Reish Tzadik Test brings this down that Havdalah could be said, right? You can't be Bari Mari Aish, you can't Besamim, but the bracha of Hagafen could be until Tuesday night. Right? If you didn't have Havdalah, you can make Havdalah Sunday, Monday, or then Tuesday. So this is put down Linyan halacha there as well. So let's finish the parak. Tanya Rabbi Yomer Lacha Regel Shleishim Yom. The person says that this is your get. If I don't come till after the regel, it's a month afterwards. Nafik Reb Chia and Darish. It's not actually a month. It's 30 days because a month can be 29 days. It's 30 days. Nafik Reb Chia Darish Mishmei the Rebbe the Kosua. They praised him. Mishmei the Rabbin V'loy Kosua. They didn't praise him. Al Males Hilchas Hagavase. Right? They didn't want to praise him because they weren't minded to the halacha. They praised him because, in other words, Vadei Yachid said it. But they didn't praise him when it was a rabbin because they didn't want to widespread the halacha. About this extra month, extra 30 days. Okay, the next parak is parak Azayrik. This is one of the parakim that is learned in yeshiva. It deals very much with the concept of kinyan chatzar. So it's really a shas sugya, not limited to Gitin, and the concept of a chatzar. We know that a person there's a pasha of kinyanim in the Torah. A person has to acquire something. Now, the easiest way to acquire is you get it in your hand, right? Then you do mashiach or something. But if someone is being magnet to you, someone is giving to you, then the shiloh is what, in order to be kaina, it has to go into your rishus. So what's considered your rishus? So we know then there's something called dalar amis. Dalar amis is your rishus. That this rishus dalar amis. We know tzidei rishus harabim. Besides rishus harabim, that they did kinyanim over there, so a person would be able to stand there. While he was standing there, is considered his jurisdiction. But by and large, a chutzner is a person's jurisdiction. By and large, there's a tremendous lumdus how chutzner works, but as Hashem will touch a little bit on it. So in order to understand this, I give you the pasuk that goes ahead and deals with Gitin. So this is Devarim Chaptalit pasuk Aleph. Isha ubala, a man gets married. Since she does not find favor in his eyes. The cost of a sefer krisis, he writes for her a get. We call it a sefer krisis. The nasam biyoda, and he puts in her hand. The shulchan beisav. So if you look at this, pasha means he puts it in her hand. But we're going to see it's much more than that. It's not limited to a hand; it extends beyond that. Okay, says the Mishnah. Azayrik get leishtoi. Someone throws a get to his wife. V'hi b'toich beisa, and she's in her house. Now, how does she have a house? Maybe her father gave it to her, and now the husband has the use of it, right? The husband has the use of it. It's called nichsei milay. We learned in Masechta Ksubis that the husband, she retains ownership. She has a kinyan in the guf of the karka. She has a kinyan in the guf, and the husband would have the kinyan payers, the usage. Hazari kalishta v'hi b'tech beisa, hay b'tech chatzera, or in her chatzir, harizum migureshes, she's divorced. Says Rashi, why? The constala chatzera, her chatzir requires it. Kilu nasna biyada, as if it was given into her hand. Kilu mefarish b'gemara, as was explained in the Gemara. Kilu mefarish, as was explained in the Gemara. Okay, so this is the chatzir is kind of zarkulo b'tach beisai. If he throws it get in his house, or his chatzir, afilu hi ima b'mita, and even if the get is with her in her bed, ein megureshes, she is not divorced because there's no nesina over there. It's not in her jurisdiction. However, l'teicheka, he throws in her lap, or l'teich kalta, or her basket, she would be what? She would be divorced. In other words, even dafka, when she's in his house, if he gives it to her in his house, her personally, then she will be divorced. So what's this concept of chatzar, guys? What's this concept of chatzar? So it says the Gemara, Nani Mili, how do you know that a chatzar is considered her? That if you put the get in the chatzar, it's considered you mekayim the mitzvah of v'nasam biyada. The Tan Rabbanan, v'nasam biyada, as we said, ein li eliyada. That means only if I give it into her hands. Gagar chatzeru karfifa minayin. How do I know if I put it on her roof, in her chatzar, in her backyard, minayin? How do you know it will be a good get? Talmud Leimer, it says, v'nasan, it says v'nasan mikol makan. In other words, if you were makbid on the using the hand, the pasuk would say ubiyoda yitnenu, ubiyada, and in her hand yitnenu. When it says v'nasan biyada, guys, we're contrasting the more inclusive or expansive v'nasan biyada versus ubiyada yitnena, in her hand he gives it. Mashma, that pada would be given in the hand. By saying v'nasan, it's mashma mikol makom, right? Any nesina would do the job, right? Any gene would do the job. And when it says yada, it means anything that is comparable to yada, such as what? As a chutzner. Let's see Rashi here. And we'll darshan, guys, there's two separate words. We'll darshan v'nasan biyada, there's two separate words. Guys, you understand? Bampi nafshi, we're not darshaning v'nasan biyada is one word. We're not darshaning is two words. V'nasan, any which way, biyada, and to touch up any which way, similar to a hand. We'd like sivu biyada yitnena. When it doesn't say in her hand, you'll put it. Mashma lon nesina koldahu. It means, guys, the lashon nasan. What does the nasan mean? He gives. V'yada de kasarachmana. Now, this is what it means with guys. Medayik and Rashi. This is ape nafshe. V'nasan, any which way. V'yada, rach. The be'inyan duma yada. That one you give it any which way has to be similar to yada. The mishtameres the daita can farish the kamei. It's watched with her knowledge according to her will. Okay, guys. So watch outside. We have a din that if you give a get to a woman's chatzah, she's divorced. Where do you know that from? It says v'nasan biyada, so I can simply say you have to give it over to her hands. The Torah is saying not like that. The Gemara is saying not like that. If it meant to her hands, it would say ubiyada, in her hand yitnenu, he should put it. When it doesn't say it, but it says v'nasan biyada, we're going to split it up. V'nasan. That means what? Anywhere. How? Not just anywhere. Biyada similar to her hand. Just like a hand is watched, so to the place you put it can't be a hefkefelt. It has to be a place that what is watched. Good. So that's the lima by get. Benani mili the Torah Rabbanan v'nasan biyada ainli eliyada gaga chatzera v'kafif minayin tamlan v'nasan v'kamakan. Guys, you know nasan. V'tanya nami hachi gabi ganif. Now we know a person steals something, right? Right. So what does the pasuk say by Geneva? The pasuk says, "Im himatze timatze biyada hageneva." If the geneva is found in his hands, mishar v'adshar adseh. From a sharchama to say chayim shnayim mishalom, you pay kefil. Now it says v'nasan biyada, it's mashma. You have to find it in his hands. Why don't you find it in his chatzah? Why don't you find it in his karfif? Why do you find it on his roof? Would it be chayiv? For sure, right? So how do you know that? How do you know the din of kefil is not limited to finding in his hands? How do you know it's more expansive? It says Gemara Talmud Laimar himatze timatze mikol makom. It says himatze timatze double lashon any which way. Now, b'tzricha, you need to tell me both. You need to tell me by ganif, you need to tell me what by get. The yashmin and get, mishum debal karcha mikarsha. Guys, you divorce a woman since she doesn't have a say in the matter before the Chen Rabbeinu Gershon. So I would say veer it any which way, right? Because you don't need her accepting it so much since it's against her will, so we can force it upon her. So any place I put it, Ganif, the less about karche, you can't force a guy to be a ganif. It's not against his will. A guy can't be a ganif against his will. In other words, a guy forces it upon him, he's not a ganif. I would say it has to be his hand and not his chutzner. Maybe you know his chutzner because we cancel the guy. We him kefil. This guy's not a fine fellow. I will get you got to tell me both. Okay, now here's a kasha that I never understood, and it's a gewaldige kasha. Whose rishus is her chutzner in? It's nichsei miloik. It's nichsei miloik, guys, right? Guys, listen to this numbers. It's nichsei miloik. That means she owns the guf of the karka, and he owns the usage of it. So the chutzner, she owns the chutzner, and he can work in it, right? That would be the payris of the chutzner. Yeah. What's going to ask? Chatzera masha kansi isha kana baila. What's the kasha? What's the kasha? In other words, how can you say by putting it in her chutzner, which he has the rights to use, right? How could you say that's an asina, right? Masha kansi isha kana baila. That's the obvious question. It's hers. I mean, she owns the property.
Like you put it into her hands, following what the Torah says. I put it into her hands. she has it, but it's not a kinyan. She's not kind of a get. She got the get. If you're doing with kinyan chotzer, it has to rework with kinyanim. Mashakana baila, mashakana shakana baila. Anytime if you're going with kinyan, then it automatically goes. You can't doesn't work.
I don't think you need a kinyan over here. I think you just need rishus. You don't need a kinyan over here. You need vinasa means we call makan. I don't think you need a kinyan. You can't make the chilik. Vinasa means any which way. Any vinasa, any nesina koldu. I don't need a kinyan. That was the adrabah. It was chotzer is less. You don't even you need less than the hand. Okay, so this kasha is the kasha is a good kasha. In other words, basically, the kasha is that what do you mean, Masha Kansi Shkanabaila? She has rishus over here. She owns the land. So I saw the Sefer Avnei Miluyim. I'll give you the source. The Avnei Miluyim is in Avnei Miluyim is in Simin Kuf Lamed Chesiv Cotton Bays. He says, Einochinami. Regarding kinyanim, the isha can be kind of the get. Could be. In other words, since it's her property, she can kind of the get. However, by a get, you need, it says, sefer krisos. You need that what? That it totally goes ahead and cuts it completely. That she can't be tachas the bal whatsoever. If the get is in a chutzer that the bal has a shaykhis to, is felt in sefer krisos. It's a beautiful. In other words, it's not enough to be in her rishus. It has to be totally out of his rishus. If he has rights to this land because he has kinyan Paris, so it's not totally out of his rishus. You know, what's the kasha, guys? What? So watch. Again, that's the we're gonna have to come at the volumdus. That's the kasha. How does it work? But we're trying to understand the kasha. In other words, to go a little extra credit, right? You're telling me it has to be in her rishus. Fred the Gemara, how can you consider her chatzah her rishus if whatever she acquires, the husband acquires? So when something comes into her chatzah, the husband acquires it. That's the kasha. So that's the Gemara's kasha. My kasha on the Gemara's kasha is I don't understand the kasha because since she owns the land, it's in her jurisdiction. Good, he has use of it, but it's in her jurisdiction. So what do you mean, Masha Kani? I don't need kinyan over here, right? I don't need kinyan. It's like I told you, Stragi. I just need it to be her rishus, and it's her rishus. Says the Avnei Miluyim, the Ketzais was the Avnei Miluyim. Says a beautiful teretz. In the parish of Kinyanim, you're right. It would be okay if it wasn't a get. By a get, you need more than her rishus. Not only you need it to be in her rishus, you need it to be out of his rishus as well. Why? Because it says v'chasav la sefer krisos. It has to be totally cut, completely. No, since he has rights of using this chatzah, those rights make it not complete the krisos. That would be the hezbollah the kasha. Now the Morris kasha, good kasha. Okay, so we have a few terutzim. Masha kanish to kana baila. Rabbi Lazar because of la dinu devorim ainli b'nechsayich. He gives up his rights. I don't have anything to do with this. So since I have nothing to do with it, it's yours. It's out of my rishus. If he writes, I have nothing to do with this, he's in other words, he's misalik himself. How does it help? You have a shutif, and you tell your shutif, I have nothing to do with this field. My hand is removed from this field. You're still not. Why? Because over here you need it to be hers, not that it's not his. You can't be it's not enough to be misalik to remove yourself. It has to make a kinyan that he should be kind to her. If he would simply say, I have nothing to do with your field, so he's misalik, that's not good enough. He'd have to either sell it to her or give it to her as a matana. He'd have to sell it to her or give it to her as a matana. So I'm in the Veryanai because of law by Darusa. You know when he wrote this to her? When she was in Arusa. Guys, remember Sefer Ksubis. As an Arusa, he doesn't have the use, he doesn't have the nichsei, he doesn't have Paris. So mamish, it's totally hers. So even when they got married, right, he was masalik already, so he never got use of it. If beforehand, right, had he gone ahead, what, and after the nesuin and it was in his rishus already, can't be masalik. Mashen came, he gave up his rights to use it when the Nisuin took place. So therefore, and how do you know a person could do that? A nachla that what a person would get from his wife, according to some opinions, the Rabbanon, or the masna yershene. He can make it right. He can make a condition not to inherit it. Okay, we'll see in a second. So what's his teretz, guys? His teretz is that it's speaking about a chatzar. He gave up his rights and was a rusa. How do you know you can do that? Because by Yerusha you can give it up and make it like you make following condition. How can you make the following condition? We know Masech the Gitin and Masech the Ksubis. The person, whatever money the woman makes, she would give to the husband in lieu of the husband supporting her, giving him a zionist. What happens if the woman says, you know what, I'm doing okay on my own, I don't want it? She could do that. So that's what top line. I don't want it. The kind of the chacham who said, he gets my ma'aser yadav tachas what tachas his mezainis. Going to shaymin le. Mike going to. Could Rav Huna Marav. Don't Rav Huna Marav. Yichali isha shetayim lebayla. Woman could tell her husband, "Ain't in mezainis. Don't support me. Veini oisa right, and I won't work for you, and I'll keep what I want." Okay. So now, we have one teretz. We asked the question. How can it be chotz masha kani shekana baila? So Rav Lesser says it's speaking where he removed his kinyan, he removed his achrayis by saying b'shas erisin have nothing to do with it. Rav has a kasha on the whole thing. Rav Amar atiyada milay kanyale lebal. The hand, if he would give it, whatever she picks up belongs to the husband. Guys, yes. So therefore, how do you ever divorce your wife? How do you ever divorce your wife? Even if you give it to a hand. Well, what do you have to say? Simultaneously, just like the hand, the husband loses jurisdiction as soon as the get's given, so to the chatzah. So I don't need any special ukimtin, lomdis, speaking mat, didn't have nothing to do with the chasim. Simply by putting the get in the chatzera, he gives up all his rights to and it reverts to him. Amar le Ravina Lavashi. Rava Yadi Ishuka Kashalei. He's asking, what's this? What do you mean that Gita, that anything he picks up belongs to him? Why? In other words, there's no havamina that the man owns the hand of his wife. Whatever his wife does, that they gave to the jurisdiction. They said whatever she makes is kind of to the husband, but he doesn't own her hands. So obviously that the chatzar, you can't say chatzar if you don't say it by yad. So the Gemara says Amalei Rava. No, Rava had a different. Rava didn't learn it from the woman. He learned the Gita Yada V'Yada Ben Kech. He learned it from Eved. We know that we learned that Eved, an Eved is Kanani, is owned by the husband or shifra, kanainis, and the only way to get rid of him is knocking out a tooth, but also writing a shifra. So only Rav Yada Eved Kakashile, Yada Eved, that how could Mashakon Eved Kanarabba? In other words, how by giving a get to your Eved can go free, whatever the Eved picks up belongs to the husband. It's not a takana, it's mamish, the Eved is owned by the husband. So how can you ever free an Eved by giving a shifra? So that he can require a star by himself. Yad Eved Kiyad Rabbi Damya, that's the kasha. Ella, what do you have to say? Gita v'yad Nabayin Ke'echad. So if you say by Shtar Shichro Eved, Gita v'yad Nabayin Ke'echad, Achanami by Gita, by a woman, Gita v'chatzer Nabayin Ke'echad. Okay, so no, we have two ways to answer it. What's the kasha? The parak begins with Hazorik get Leisha b'chatzer, she's divorced. How could she be divorced? Masha Konsa Eved Isha Kana Baila. Either he wrote a jurisdiction, and Rabbi Lazar says he gave up all rights he had, b'shas erison, saying that I have no kinyan here, or we say the concept of chatzer v'yadai b'ayin ke'echad, gita v'chatzer b'ayin ke'echad. In other words, she's divorced. There was a shchemira, the cost of gita levisai. He wrote to get to his wife, b'hadei panya del ma'le shabbata. He wrote it on erev Shabbos, and he was dying. Right, and he wasn't able to give it to her. L'machar, the next day, takaflei alma, he was dying. And the takaflei alma is very strong that he was going to leave the world, and you're not allowed to give a get on Shabbos. It's the kemek kinyanim on Shabbos, and the get is muktzah. Get is muktzah, so you can't give a get on Shabbos. So he wanted her not to fall to Yibum. He wanted to make a grusha. Also, the Rava, they brought the child in front of Rava. Amalahu, Rava told him, Zilu Amrle, go tell him, le Kanye Nela, Alhu Duchta, the Yosef Begita, to go ahead and be maknat his wife, the earth that's underneath what? The get. Right? V'tezel ihi, let her go. V'techad v'tiftach, v'tachsik bei. Now, Tetnan, no gedu uperetz kol shu harizu chazaka. Now, guys, there's three ways to be kind of karka. Look at me, please. Kesev, shtar, and chazaka. Three ways to be kind of karka. Kesev, shtar, and chazaka. Chazaka means you do something to show bilas. One of the ways you show bilas is, let's say you buy a field, is opening and closing the gate. So what happened over here? He came up with the following yetza. It's muktzah. You can't go ahead and give it. So what are you going to do? I want you to divorce. I want it to be a gerusha, not an almana, because I don't want it to fall to yibum. So go ahead, wherever the get is on the ground, whatever it is, sell her that. If she acquires that, then we'll use the idea of king and agav. Agav, the karka, will be kind of what the get. Will be kind of the get. Good. Okay. So now, what did she do? She went. She opened the door, closed the door. That's the kinyan, and you acquired the get. So, Amalei Rav Ilish LaRava said, Rav Ilish to Rava, Masha Kansa Isha Kana Baila. What did you gain? Wherever the land is there is his. So Ichsif, he became embarrassed. Rava. L'Saif Igloi Milsa Darusa Hava. In the end, it was Igloi Milsa that she was an Arusa. So therefore, what? Masha, you don't say Masha Ginish Kana Rabba. What? Not in Shabbos. It's Muktzah. Amarava im Amr, you can't touch the get. It's Muktzah. Amarava im Amr bin Asua Yomer Ba'arusa. Right. So Rabbi said, if we said Masha Kansi Sarabba by Nasua, we don't say by Arusa. Adamarava leishna Arusa leishna Asua. It doesn't make a difference. Kita b'chatzerim b'ayin ke'echad. So the question is, so Rava Meikara, why was Rava initially embarrassed when Rav Ilish said this to him that he didn't answer? L'chayra, he knew this concept of chatzerim b'ayin ke'echad. Says no, Kiyom Rava Ahai Maisa. He said it Gufa in this Maisa. It happened Gufa in this Maisa, and they learned it from here. The kasha that the speak out over here is this. It's the Rabbanan. It's Muktzah. You're not allowed to make kinyanim and Shabbos also. So what you went ahead because you shchiv meira. You went ahead and you blew off the halacha making kinyanim in order not if it's. Once it's muktzah, it's the Rabbanan, and this is the Rabbanan, go carry it in the first place. Go give it. In other words, what are you gaining over here? The reason you couldn't give the get because it's muktzah, correct? So why do you say, because the Rabbanan. So why do you say? Make a kinyan, which is also us the Rabbanan, right? Which is also us the Rabbanan. So what did you gain over here? So the Rishonim say that according to, I think the Ritva, which Rishonim, okay, according to the Rashba, the Rif, and the Ran, they didn't want to mata Issa that you saw the head Yechil Shabbos as giving the get. In other words, by opening, closing the gate, you can say she has to get in and out. You wouldn't know she's opening, closing the gate for the purpose of making a kinyan. You think she's opening, closing a gate. You open the door, right, guys? There's no. In other words, you're doing something, but it's not obvious that you're Michal Shabbos. If you'd go ahead, pick up the get and give it over, that'd be Chil Shabbos. So that's one teretz. And in fact, in Shulchan Aruch and Ben Ezra, Simon Kuf Lamed Vav, it says, Simon Zion, if you can't do that, you go ahead and give the get. In other words, they would waive off the Issa D'Rabbanan. They'd waive off the Issa D'Rabbanan. Okay, let's go a little weiter. The Hibitoich Beisa. Okay, if you throw the get and she's in the house or the chutzner, she's divorced, but not so fast. Ama Ula, why does it have to be Ama Ula? Ushay Medes B'tzad Beisa B'tzad Chatzer. She has to be standing at the side of the house or the side of the chutzner. It has to be, as we said, Shemeres Midaita. V'vayshiyam Afilu Hi B'Tveria V'Chatzer B'Tzipuri Hi B'Tzipuri V'Chatzer B'Tveria V'Gurashes. I vahi b'sach beisa b'sach chatzer katani. Hachi kamar. The he kimisha b'tayich beisa. The he kimisha b'tayich chatzer. The kivan the chatzim mishtameres the daita he miskareshes. In other words, it has to be that there's a fence around it. It's miskaresh that it's watch me daita. right? That's the Rashi says, Kimishu toich beisa, kilu hi b'seich beisa. Mahi, t'binu ta'avi chatzer mishtameres l'daita, kloimer, al pia v'al tzivahag. Shmeres daita means through her mouth, through its tzivui. Lafuki yodamin pirkan l'kaman, nothing get biyad avda, near ain't a get. Ta'avi chatzer mishtameres, shalem l'daita, shum shem ras l'daita. In other words, if you would give the get to her eved while he's when he's up, who's watching the get? He's watching the get. It has to be watch me daita. So it doesn't, it has to be that she said that it should be kaina. It has to that she said that it should acquire, right? Okay. If you look at interesting place this, Usha Mendes B'Tzad Beisa, Perikamid Ba Mitzia, Amina and Dafka Beget, the Chayfullah Beinian Shadeya Mendes B'Tzad Beisa, the Levi Mitzia. Now is it if Chatzah works mitam schia, right? The Chatzah is working Zaycha, so if it's a chayv, it's not Zaycha. So therefore, she has to be there. She would have to be there. Mashain came to Mitzia, which is a positive for her. She wouldn't have to be there. She wouldn't have to be there. Okay, so now says the Gemara. The Masa Chatzah Mishum Yada Al Yad is Rabbi, and just like Yad is watched, it's you have to be there. Masa Chatzah Mishum Shlichus is Rabbi, and therefore you don't have to be there. The one that says that she has to be at the side of the field, holds the chutzah. Guys, what's the mechanics of a chutzah? Does it work out as an extension of the person, or does it work like the shliach of a person? And just like you can make a shliach a Kabbalah, so the get is like a shliach a Kabbalah. So it's just like shliach Kabbalah, you don't have to be there. By chutzah, also you don't have to be there. But if chutzah works mitam yad, that's an extension of you, just like your hand is there, so you would have to be here. That would be a good way of explaining the machlokes, whether you have to be at the side of the get or not. The Mandiyam says you have to be there mitam yad. The one that says you don't have to be there is mitam shlichus. Says no loy. The kuli alma chatzah mishum yad is Rabbi. Everyone says it works al yad. Everyone says al yad. So the question is then why the Mandiyam says you don't have to be there. Masa b'kiyada mayada b'smucha af katzer b'smucha. Just like yad is next to it. So too char is next to her. The idach imay hilasakasha imay yada b'devuka af katzer b'devuka. It have to be attached to her. We know that's true. Ella, so therefore that comparison to yad is not a good comparison. Ella kiyada mayada mishtameres l'daita. Just like a yad is mishtameres according to her knowledge. Af katzer mishtameres l'daita. So too, if it's through her mouth that she designated it that it should watch lafuke chatzah mishtameres l'daita, as opposed to that case. So therefore, that would be the one that says that you have to be there. It's like why the chatzah is misham yad. The other one says also misham yad, but the different svara. Just like yad is mishtameres l'daita, so too what the chatzah mishtameres l'daita, and just like and therefore she doesn't have to be there because mishtameres l'daita simply means that she commanded or it's known she knows that a chatzah is there to work for her. It's watched by her rather than by somebody else. So as long as just like your hand is you're knowledgeable of what's in your hand, so to your chatzah you're knowledgeable what's in your chatzah, but you're not that you have to be there.